What's going on, ladies and gents of YouTube? Welcome to DigiTrib. Today we're going to be talking about Star Wars Battlefront 2, and unfortunately, the loot box system that comes with it. Now, everyone has been talking about it, but I would be remiss not to throw my own 2 cents into everything that's going on, because honestly, this is what I've been arguing about for forever, since I started working at GameStop back in 2011, when I was saying that these video games are trying to get as much money out of you as they possibly can, and how we're getting significantly less out of our video games as time has progressed. And I would often actually use this argument to customers when it actually came to them buying a game. Now, my coworkers weren't exactly very pleased with this, and neither were the people that were above me, but I felt like if I was going to be a good salesman, I had to actually tell them what they were getting their hands on. Season passes, which were bullshit. The online requirements, the passes that we had at the time, that thankfully are now gone, the online passes that came and went. And now we have these loot box systems, right? Every single time we're getting something new, something different, but ultimately the same thing. Some way for these game developers, or these publishers rather, to get as much possible money out of you as they can. They're just squeezing us dry, right? First it was the online pass, then it was the season pass, now it's loot boxes. And I feel that because of what Overwatch did with loot boxes, that is where everyone is going to try to go now with their game. We've seen it with Shadow of War, we've seen it with Forza 7, we've seen it with PUBG, we've seen it now with Star Wars Battlefront 2, and Star Wars Battlefront 2 is probably the biggest one in terms of like just sheer blatant greed. So why do we play video games? We generally play video games for the sense of accomplishment that they provide for us whenever we get a kill, or whenever we complete an objective, or whenever we win a match, right? We enjoy the high of that. But then there's the high that comes after the match, where you actually level up and you actually gain new abilities and new strengths and new whatever the case may be. You level up. RPG systems have been a thing that's been being brought into shooters a lot more frequently now. And so, you know, it's very common now to find those kind of traits in these games. So that's worked, you know, adding RPG elements into shooters and things like that actually have, you know, a positive impact on the overall experience, because it gives you more things to do, it gives you things to work towards. Adding RPG elements into first-person shooters, into third-person shooters, and other kinds of games adds replay value to it, and it adds a sense of depth to the game to make you play more. It gives you the ability to customize your characters in different ways. You know, way back when in the day, it was just you would do the match, you would get the high, and then that would be it. But now you have all these things that you can unlock, from cosmetics to whatever, and so people love that stuff. It's an inherent part of our games today. So, wouldn't you know that EA, of course, would try to raise the bar, as they always do in terms of bullshit, by providing players with loot boxes. But instead of loot boxes only being cosmetic, which is still arguably something that's annoying, but I think that Overwatch still did the best that they could possibly do with that system. But rather than going that route, they decided to go just fuck it all, right? And just make it so that all of your progression in the game is tied to your loot box system. You have these annoying stupid things called shards or some shit that you walk around with, that you use to buy more items that are actually physical upgrades for your character. Now, of course, you can grind them the regular way. Anyone can grind them the regular way, but the thing is that you are going to be incentivized to pay. Just like they did in Dead Space, just like they've done in every single one of their games, they're going to try to incentivize paying first before they incentivize actually playing the game to achieve anything. And of course the shards, you know, come super slow from playing the game. In fact, one thing that I noticed is that it didn't matter how great you did or how terribly you did in these betas, or in the beta rather, you were going to get the same amount of points, the same amount of shards as the person who came in last place. So there's no sense of progression, there's no sense of accomplishment from any of these matches. You're literally just running around doing things for, I don't even fucking know why, right? Every single bit of incentive is in the loot boxes. It seems like, from what we've seen from the beta, every single piece of progression is tied to the loot box system. How did they think that this is a good idea? I do not know. For the life of me, I don't know, and it's absurd. You can buy a total of 2 guns in the beta, right? You can purchase a like what, like, yeah, 2 guns for each class basically is what you were, given. And so seeing that the only way to get those are through the shards, it's only natural to assume that now every single weapon in the game is going to be unlocked that way, because there's nothing that hinted at otherwise. Every single one of the star cards, which is still one of the dumbest pieces of bullshit I've seen put into the Star Wars games, are going to be the way that your characters get buffs, right? There's a star card that allows your starship to fire faster. There's a star card that allows your gunship to not overheat as fast. There's a star card that allows Boba Fett to literally be invincible while he's firing rockets in the air. It's amazing. It's astonishing how just obvious EA is making it. They're not even trying to hide it. And so now, of course, the internet is blowing up about this. And I'm sure that EA is going to try to give some, half-assed remark or anything like that. But I would honestly be surprised if they pull it out of the game. I think that if they get enough negative press, they might. But I think that they'll also just try to cut their losses and see how far they can ride with this. Because obviously they knew that people weren't going to be okay with it, but they're trying to push the boundaries. And that's the thing that everyone has always been arguing about for years now, is that these video game studios are trying to push the boundaries about what they can and can't get away with. Loot boxes are the new thing that everyone's going to be turning to, because, again, I've said it before and I'll say it again, the game industry has a serious habit of playing follow the leader. They always play follow the leader, so they're going to be going after anything that the top dog is doing, and that right now happens to be Overwatch. Overwatch managed to do it, frankly, brilliantly. I still think that it would have been nice to have some progression actually tied to playing the game, but there's enough that I don't need to spend money, right? It takes a while, but there's still enough progression that I never have to spend $1, and then all that stuff is cosmetic. It's not great, but if that's what I have to get in order to get free maps and free heroes, I'll take that hit. And so, of course, EA is using that same excuse, right? Oh, well, we're using it to get free maps and free blasters and free whatever, you're getting everything in the game for free after you pay $60, but you're not. You're not, because if you have to shell out 30 hours of gameplay just to get a few shitty items, or spend $20 up front and then get like 40 items, of course you're going to go with the $20. Of course that's what people are going to go with, and so there's going to always be a serious imbalance between the people who have money that they can burn and those that can't, and those that want to play the game naturally and level up. And of course it would be EA that does this. Of course it would be EA. Out of any studio that I know, EA is always the one that manages to be the worst, and I'm not even surprised by this anymore. I'm honestly just flabbergasted. Yeah, I'm flabbergasted that we allow this to continue to happen. So I don't know. I think that as it stands right now, Star Wars Battlefront 2, as a game overall, is actually quite good. The characters feel like they were brought to life. It's almost the uncanny valley, actually. Looking at Rey, I was actually kind of laughing over the way she looked, but I was also kind of really impressed. The sound effects are incredible. The graphical design looked like these, figures and everything were just brought off the big screen and brought into her hands to play. And, just like the first one, everything about its production value is astonishing. It's amazing. And yet they still somehow find a way to make a game that should be good, that should be fun, just asinine and frustrating and downright cheap. It's a scam. At the end of the day, it's a scam. They took out, in the first game, what did we have? We got $60 worth of content after $120 paid, right? So when the game first came out, Battlefront 1 took, 6 months to provide us with at least half the things that they had originally promised. There weren't any space battles. There were 4 maps. There were 4 heroes to choose from, and there was no campaign. It was a shallow game, but you had to spend $60 for that shit. Then, after that, you had to go and spend another $40 or $50, I don't remember. It was a lot of fucking money to get the rest of the game that was supposed to be promised. And now, they're like, oh, well, you don't have to worry about that, but now instead you can buy these loot boxes that have all the progression tied to it. I don't know why they didn't try going the route of cosmetics. I feel like that would have made the most sense. That's the thing that, at least for the time being, is accepted. But this game's gonna get trashed, honestly. There are always gonna be those that buy it, absolutely. But EA is going to be talking about how this one didn't go as well as they had planned. And I'm like, obviously. Obviously, because you're trying to pull another fast one on your customers. Of course people are going to find out. Of course people are going to be like, what the fuck, dude? I don't know. It blows my mind. It honestly blows my mind how incredibly incompetent these game studios can be. But I'm not going to rant to you guys all day about this. This is just shit that just needs to stop. It just needs to stop, because if it doesn't, then we're going to continue to see these kind of practices acted out again and again and again. We need to do what we did way back with the online pass, which was just say basically, nope, and fuck it, we're not going to be a part of this. And, you know, those game sales took a hit. But as long as the AAA industry thinks that they can get away with this, they're going to keep trying. But I'm certain that this isn't going to be the last attempt, right? After loot boxes, it's going to be something else. I don't know what, but I know that it's going to be something else. Anyway, guys, that's my thoughts on the matter. I think it's honestly a piece of shit. I think that the overall game itself is great. I wish that I could talk to you guys about the actual beta. Maybe I will, but for the time being, I felt like I had to get this rant off my chest because it was just building and building, and it still just amazes me. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me. Have you guys played the beta? If so, what did you think? Go ahead and comment below, and let's get a discussion talking about it. Do you guys like the loot box system? Have you guys played the beta? Do you guys think that this is all bullshit, or are you okay with it? Let me know, and I will see you all around next time. Have a good one, everybody.